is WHEC-TV, proudly serving Rochester. News 10 NBC starts right now.
An historic February storm drops more than a foot of snow in Rochester, causing chaos on the roads and shutting down businesses.
Cars and tractor trailers stuck on area highways. Take a look at this traffic backup on 490 East. Well, we showed it to you earlier. That was this afternoon near South Avenue. Traffic moving now. A travel advisory remains, though, in effect for Monroe, Livingston, Ontario, and Seneca and Steuben counties. Right now, you're looking at the ride home at 390 at Ridgeway Avenue.
Now, get this, we actually broke the record for snow at the airport with more than 17 inches. We begin our coverage with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Williamson. Kevin, you forecasted that we would get this much snow, and we sure did.
Well, among the impressive things, Scott and Janet, was the snowfall rates this morning. That was part of the problem. If the record nearly 18 inches of snow had been spread out over 24 to 36 hours and not focused on the morning commute, it would have been a different outcome. But for 3 straight hours at the airport, we had snowfall rates of up to 3 inches per hour. Here's what some of it looked like on our WeatherBug camera here at Charlotte, where there was a little bit of a mix for a bit, but primarily snow, poor visibility, again, very impressive snowfall tallies. Still getting data in from our weather watchers and our viewers, but Pittsburgh at 22 inches of snow. Josh will talk about the near record conditions at the airport. Very impressive, but you need to know the heavy snow is done. It's over. Light snow, some wind and blowing snow, still an issue, but live Doppler 10 showing that precipitation, which was so abundant and colorful with that mix in the Finger Lakes, moving away, and that is indeed a good trend. Still some tough travel. Of course, we'll talk more about that, but with some perspective and some numbers on where we've been on this snowfall. My colleague Josh Nichols joins us now. Josh?
Yeah, good evening, Kevin. It really was a remarkable situation this morning with those snowfall rates, and as a result, we have definitely seen not just a record snowfall for the day today. We have another record we want to tell you about here as well. The 17.9 inches that we have measured officially at the airport through about 4 o'clock is also just a half an inch away from the all-time snowiest February day on record, which was Valentine's Day, 1960. And we may get that half inch before the calendar day is up at midnight. These are some of the other totals. You can see how the amounts vary. Off to the east, much lighter snows fell because of that sloppy mix of sleet and rain. 9 inches Phelps, actually just had another report of 12 inches from Phelps. 10 inches Newark, 20.2 inches in Charlotte. This was a Rochester special, concentrated on Monroe County, the Genesee Valley, and look at that, 18.5 inches in Penfield. This is snow that we'll be cleaning up for a little while. Kevin will have more on maybe another storm to come next week. We'll talk about that and much more in the custom forecast in just a few moments. Janet, Scott?
Josh, thank you very much. This storm still having an impact on traffic right now. 490 westbound is still shut down from 390 to 590 while crews clear the snow and stuck cars there. The eastbound lanes, we can tell you and told you earlier, opened about an hour ago. Now, this isn't the only traffic concern we're following.
It sure isn't. We have team coverage. Rachel Spots takes a look at traffic along the Bay Bridge. Berkeley Breen spoke to people digging out in Brighton. We start with Chris Hervanitz, who's tracking those major issues on 490. What can you tell us, Chris?
Well, Scott, up until about an hour ago, there were truck drivers still here that had been stuck here since this morning. One of them was a gentleman named Mike Rubin. He left Massachusetts early this morning on his way to Lyle Avenue.
You almost made it.
Almost. I was, a couple miles short? Yeah.
How long have you been here?
I've been here since about 9:15.
And you haven't moved?
Haven't moved.
Are you stuck or you just...
I was stuck, but even the other cars were just barely making it up, so... Yeah, but I've been stuck since 9:15 here. We get nor'easters, but I never sat like this. First time ever.
And Rubin never imagined it would happen in Rochester, of all places. He was finally freed and got off 490 around 5 o'clock. Tow drivers started on the west side of town and worked toward the east in the westbound lanes. Both sides of 490 were shut down around 2:30. Even though a few stragglers continued down the eastbound side, law enforcement urged and continued to urge everyone to stay off the roads.
It's been a long time since we've had 490 closed, especially for this amount of time. But this amount of snow is unprecedented. We haven't had much to go. People aren't used to the snow, and then all of a sudden to get it in this volume has really slowed things up. You can stay in unless you have a real necessity to be out there. Just stay home right now because you don't know where you're going to have a road closed, and then you're going to be sitting.
So that truck driver stopped for about 8 hours.
Yeah, that's a long day.
It sure is. Chris Servatis reporting. Thank you. We're also keeping an eye on another traffic nightmare, the Bay Bridge.
The drivers were stuck there for hours earlier, and we saw a number of people trying to dig out. So what is the bridge like now as people head home? Rachel Spotts live in Webster with a look at the conditions. Rachel, what can you tell us?
Janet, traffic is flowing now, but it was a standstill earlier today. I want to see if we can take a look. You can see cars are moving, but that was not the case this morning for several hours, several miles on 104 in the westbound lanes. Cars were stuck. They were in snowbanks and needed help. Other drivers coming through to help pull and push them out. We spoke with a number of drivers as they were waiting. Significant delays. Here's what they told us.
It's rather terrifying. And I actually keep opening the windows because the fumes are getting to me.
Drivers stuck, many in a panic as the Irondequoit Bay Bridge turned into a parking lot.
It's horrible. I wish they would have told me at 7 o'clock to stay home.
Ryan Carey used his truck to pull a car up the on-ramp at Bay Road in Webster.
I just turned around at the bridge and figured I'd help a couple people out. I've never been stuck in this much traffic, no way.
I've been stuck for over an hour just on this ramp. So I feel like these guys are my heroes helping me out.
One driver even got out of his car to direct traffic away from the on-ramp.
Trying to wave them on so they don't come on and get stuck also. Because they're helping other people out and also to avoid any other safety issues.
Several cars and trucks got stuck in the snow and had to be pulled or pushed to get them back out. We spoke with one driver who took advantage of the delay.
It's been trying, but we're being very patient out here. They're doing what they can, and we'll all get to our destination safely if we take our time.
Yeah, that's the message. Take your time, but a lot of folks were able to stay home today and avoid the headache that was out on the roads today, because I can tell you it certainly was a headache. Janet, Scott.
Joe, you've been out there all day. You get inside and get warm. Thank you very much for that live report. Well, we have been telling you, yes, for several days that this snowstorm was coming. It did start falling overnight. Monroe County didn't issue a no unnecessary travel advisory until about 10 o'clock this morning. A lot of people asking us, they wanted to know why it wasn't issued sooner. So we asked the county executive.
Some people are wondering why maybe it took so long to issue a travel warning here. Why was that?
Sure, we were monitoring the weather throughout the night, and certainly the weather that was predicted to hit during the overnight hours did not arrive until the morning commute. We always tell people to take necessary precautions as they drive and under any weather conditions. During this snow event, as soon as the weather was intensified, the plows did their best to keep up with the weather.
The county executive says she's not sure when the travel advisory will be lifted, but for now, they're going to let the plows get out there and do their work.
Plow drivers aren't the only ones clearing the snow. A lot of people, probably including you, had to shovel the driveway and dig your car out. In fact, Berkeley Breen has been in Brighton all day, and Burke, you even had to pick up the shovel to help out.
Well, Scott, that's because it felt like this storm settled over Brighton and didn't move all day. We came here looking for people digging out, and when we found them, we tried to help them out. Like we did with Jessica Norton. We found her trying to dig through a wall of snow at the end of her driveway. I had the same problem at my house this morning. So I picked up a shovel and started digging. It's quite a workout, too.
Yes.
I mean, this kind of heavy snow is it's a workout.
Yes, we need to get ourselves and get some better shovels, I think.
This is a little bit unusual, especially for this year.
We got to ride shotgun with the Brighton snowplows. Mark Hagren has worked non-stop today. Brighton plows more than 100 miles of road. We asked him, what can we do to help him do his job better so it's safer for us and our families?
I would say number one would be try to follow the parking ordinance. I think from 11 p.m. to 7 in the morning is great if the cars are off the road. It allows us quite a bit more maneuverability. And number two, obviously, is just having a little bit of patience.
It's hard to be patient when this happens. This driver's car got stuck just 2 doors down from her house. I jumped out of our car to help another guy get her loose.
There you go.
And then I followed Minna Levincron to her house to talk.
I haven't been stuck in many years.
I got my exercise in for today, too.
Yes,
I guess.
thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
Now, Minute tells me that she's buying a new car on Saturday, and it has four-wheel drive. Probably just a couple of days late. We're live in Brighton, Berkeley, Green News 10 NBC.
Well, Burke, this is a busy time of day at 12 Corners. What's traffic like right now?
I'll tell you, Scott, I've seen it a whole lot busier here at 12 Corners around this hour. So that tells me a lot of people got out of work early, and they're already home.
All right, that's good. Then you can come back here and start shoveling out our parking lot. Burke, thanks a lot for that report.
Our coverage on this February storm continues.
It sure does. We spoke to local companies who chose to close today and how the decision is impacting their business. You'll hear from them in a live report next. This heavy snow that we've been dealing with has caused issues for drivers all day. But take a look at this. We saw City of Rochester crews stop to help dig and push out a stuck car. We also saw neighbors in Brockport today lending a helping hand, shoveling out parked cars on the street.
We've been telling you and showing you how the snow is impacting drivers on roads, highways, but it's also having a big impact on businesses.
It sure is. Brett Davidson continues our February storm coverage. He spoke with several local businesses who chose to close today. Brett.
Well, Scott and Janet, it certainly can't be helping their bottom line because companies that aren't open today aren't making money today. But many businesses closed anyway, putting the safety of their employees and their customers first. Here at Battisti Jewelers on Chilai Avenue, they're normally busy with custom jewelry design and repairs. But there's no work being done today and no walk-in customers either.
Had to do that before?
We've never officially shut down.
That is until today. They were among hundreds of local businesses that took a look at the steady snow falling and added their name to our News 10 NBC closing list.
We have a lot of repair business here that we do, so we have a schedule that we have to keep with that to get things back to customers. So it's hard to lose a day like that.
We spoke to several businesses that closed today, putting the safety of their employees and customers first.
I mean, there was tractor trailers on the side of the road, and we just made the call that we're more for safety for our guys, and we called the trucks back.
John Siciliano is vice president of Ackerpack, suppliers of packaging products. With no deliveries going out, he'll be paying more in overtime tomorrow.
So how important is it for you to get these trucks on the road?
Very important. Customers depend on us because we mostly deal with manufacturing companies that have to get their product out.
It's difficult to measure precisely the economic impact of a storm like today's, but foregoing a day's worth of revenue can devastate a small business.
Yeah, as a small business, it can be pretty detrimental.
Michael Rakiki made the call to close his barbershop today, forcing him to reschedule 40 appointments, a one-day loss of more than $1,000.
Yeah, we're destined to always have some snow and some hard days like this, but, being able to bounce back from it is the best thing.
And that's a great attitude to have, and everyone we spoke with today said it's just part of the price of doing business here in Western New York. We're live in downtown Rochester. Brett Davidson, News 10 NBC.
Among those closings today, Brett, were the area shopping malls, too.
Yeah, exactly, and that equates to hundreds of stores and thousands of shoppers. It means fewer people earning wages, fewer people spending their monies in those stores, and less revenue coming into the county. So you can quickly see how that can impact, even a one-day storm can impact a local economy.
Good point. Lots of business. Brett Davidson reporting live. Thank you. Well, our meteorologists have called it for days. Rochester hit with more than a foot of snow.
Kevin has the details on this record-setting February storm and the full forecast, and it's coming up next.
Now, your forecast with meteorologist Kevin Williams, your hometown weather expert.
Well, so much for a mild winter, historic cold over the weekend, and then that storm that ultimately produced record snows in parts of the area. And you know what? We're not done with the winter weather, although we're almost done with this storm. Now, of course, as we have been detailing, it was a Rochester special in terms of the biggest snows right here in the metro. For the Finger Lakes and our friends there, it was a different story. It was ice. Here is Yates County, the Keuka area. Look at the ice on the lands as well as frosting the trees, and that's caused some travel issues. See how the trees are all frosted here on Keuka Lake. So I just want you to know, as our snow winds down in Rochester and the metro, refreezing of the ground, causing some issues for some slippery travel through parts of the Finger Lakes. See how all the trees in the distance there are frosted and ice. So just be aware, that'll be a travel issue tonight. But in Rochester, it was all about the snow. And as I was slowly winding my way down East Avenue to come to the station earlier today, saw an old friend. You know that big dirty pile of whatever that is in the 490 inner loop work project? All beautiful now and covered in snow. And there's our friend waving as we all went by. Kind of neat to see. Winter is back and back in a very big way. Storm itself, though, is wrapping up. The snow is tapering now pretty quickly. Maybe a little freezing drizzle in spots, but new snowfall will be slight. Big storm amounts, we'll detail those once again. There will be a little surge of milder air next week, and I'm not going to talk a lot about it now, but there is another storm lurking for the east, the middle of next week. Might miss us east, might not. We're going to talk a lot more about that over the next several days. Let's talk about snowfall today. So many numbers from our weather watchers, Weather Service spotters. Pittsford, one of the observers with 22 inches. Note again, the Weather Service mark at 17.9 inches, which is again a record for the date and not far from an all-time record for the month for a 24-hour period. But live Doppler 10, there goes the snow. Just lighter snow now. But again, a little freezing drizzle may develop. I've seen that out toward Cleveland, so we're going to watch for that, for the possibility of a little added slickness to the roads. But again, there goes the storm, the snow, and the mix all moving rapidly away now. And here in your Futurecast, again, what we see tonight will be slight, and certainly the morning commute tomorrow will be far, far superior to what we saw today. How could it not be, right? But nevertheless, there'll be a touch of snow in the air in the day tomorrow as a little disturbance swings on by, but it will be nominal. Some other reports from our weather watchers, trying to get as many in as I can. We present to you the temperature and where available snowfall. 13 inches, for example, from Dave in Batavia, in Williamson and Mosleys with 29 degrees and 15 inches of new snow. 32 in Rochester now with a brisk wind and some light snow that is falling, going down to 25 tonight. Additional snow will be slight. Obviously, though, you still need to drive for the conditions, which are still treacherous on many spots. 32 tomorrow, mainly cloudy skies. Just a little snow, could be a dusting to an inch kind of deal. In terms of the 7-day, it does turn colder Thursday, but the sun is back. Then it's milder over the weekend, maybe a couple of rain showers Saturday. And through next Tuesday, it gets colder again. And then we'll talk more about possibly a system later next week coming up when we talk again tomorrow, guys.
System, you mean?
I mean, let's just not think about it until tomorrow.
That's a good point. Let's not
talk about it tomorrow.
Well, you know we're going to think about it.
Yeah.
Because you said it. Kevin, thanks. This storm not only having an impact on the roads as you head home, but it's also having an impact for people trying to catch planes.
It sure is. Coming up, we're going to take a look at flights leaving Rochester and show you which ones are canceled.
Well, this February storm is having an impact on flights in and out of Rochester. Take a look at the departure board from the Greater Rochester International Airport. Several flights canceled to Newark, New York City, Boston, D.C. Airport officials want to remind you to check the status of your flight before you leave your home.
And some people are taking time to have some fun during this February storm. We spotted this snowman built on top of a pile of snow on the inner loop near East Avenue Bridge. It's a big one, about 6 feet tall. And on our Facebook page, we asked what you're doing today. Katie sent us these pictures of the family playing in the snow, of course. And take a look at Ada. Sent us this photo and said, sharing whipped cream with my foster kitty, Martha. You can share your pictures with us on our WHEC TV Facebook page.
Love all the pictures and love that snowman.
It's a big one. Can't miss it.
It's like welcoming you.
Yeah, sure. Well, we continue to track this February storm.
Kevin will be back with a final check of that forecast up next. We want to take one final look at the ride home. You're looking at 490 and Meg Street. And we do want to point out now, 490 is now back open in both directions. Well, what a day this has been weather-wise, Kevin.
Well, you know, and it began with the Arctic record historic cold over the weekend. I mean, it just is amazing. Right. So much for the mild winter, right? Well, the worst of the storm is over, but there will still be obviously some tough travel tonight owing to the snow that fell. So please take care. A little freezing drizzle perhaps as well.
All right, Kevin, thank you very much. We thank you for making News 10 NBC your choice for news.
NBC Nightly News is next.
So long.